think you've all seen these ridiculous job postings where you're required to have some prior job experience in order to get this super starting, super low paid, very basic position. Like, what's the math behind it? How am I supposed to get some job experience unless I get the job? But I can't get the job because I don't have prior job experience. That's a paradox, and I'm so angry about it. But I'm not going to rant about it today, or we are not going to get into this chit chat about the employers and how companies are setting some unattainable standards. No, we are talking about us because we want to make our lives better. So we've all agreed that these job postings are ridiculous and humiliating at the same time. But I've seen so many people who do the same thing towards themselves. They don't do the thing that they want to do just because they think that they lack experience to start doing this. And we are not talking about some very complicated stuff. We are talking about like starting to write a book, starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, whatever. And in this case, don't stop yourself from starting the thing just because you lack previous experience. Because once again, how are you supposed to get that prior experience if you don't do the thing, right? So yeah, starting the thing, it's easy to say, but of course, harder to do. I get you. There is so much pressure that can be going on from internal stuff, like a little tiny demon that's sitting on your shoulder and telling you how bad you are at something, how you're going to end up, in a cardboard box on the street in the middle of winter. There is external stuff. Like, I'm literally terrified by the idea that my colleagues can see me making videos on YouTube. Yep, I'm a corporate girly and I have no idea what I'm gonna do if I get confronted by any of the people that I know offline. What would I say? But now back to business. We're going to approach it in a more structured way. So yeah, grab your pencil, pen, whatever, and let's get down to it. First, starting the thing doesn't necessarily mean that it's a long-term commitment. It doesn't mean that it's a big deal. Because what you like now isn't necessarily the thing that you're going to like later in life. But that's fine, because everything can evolve into something else. If you start what you start now, it doesn't mean that you can't change it into anything that you want later. There is nothing that can keep you moving if you don't have the motivation to do so, and frustration kills motivation. So we need to avoid frustration like a plague. And in order to do so, we need to set a very realistic schedule. When it comes to personal projects, realistic schedule should be based on catastrophic scenarios, because personal projects are very hard to treat like a job or going to school, because other people do not expect us to do the thing and we are not motivated by anything else but our own thoughts. So my realistic schedule for doing the thing that I want to do, which is YouTube right now, is the following. Sometimes it's just enough to do the thing that I need because I have other commitments, because I have other things going on. Sometimes it feels very boring, but I still don't let myself hurry and I do the thing just when I need to do the thing according to the schedule. And the third thing that I want you to pay attention to is the difference between soft launch and hard launch. So let's break down what this actually is. Hard launch is when you gather all the resources, all the support that you can get from other people around you, like your friends, your family, and you tell everyone that you are starting something. It's like having a good marketing campaign before the film, It works well if you are a confident person and if you are surrounded by very supportive people. Another option is soft launch. Soft launch is basically not telling anyone until the thing itself tells everyone for you. It may feel lonely at first, but it's not so bad as it sounds because it's a good option for all those anxious buddies out there, me included. So now that we are armed with practical tips, let's go for a walk. And I honestly don't worry so much now because I know that this video is going to be seen by like 50 to 100 people, and that's great because I know I suck at it. I am very bad at filming right now, and that is the type of outcome that I expect. I think it should be like gradual steps towards more popularity, more quality content, and so on. And it's great when you start and you are bad at something and you don't have many people to see this. That's awesome because otherwise you would be smashed by the amount of feedback, negative feedback that you receive. So gradually growing from being bad at something to being good at something, and gradually growing your audience or other people's admiration, the external validation that we are so striving to get. If you somehow manage to polish the skill that you were so afraid to use for a real deal, get the experience from somewhere else, I don't know where, but anyway, and you finally realize that you are ready to launch yourself to the public, if you suddenly realize that you are now finally ready, to write a book, to start a YouTube channel, and you do something and you get like 0 to 5 views and nobody's interested in you, that is going to be much more frustrating than getting these 0 to 5 views when you are bad at something. And I guess being bad at something and getting 0 feedback is not going to lead you to burnout as fast as it's going to happen to you if you are good at something, honestly good at something, but nobody knows anything about you just because you weren't publicly speaking about it earlier. And now that we are back, I just wanted to say this. It's very difficult to tell about your personal projects to other people offline, because these are people who know you. These are your friends, your family, your colleagues. These are the people who know you offline. It's much more difficult to interact with other people if you know that they know that you do something. This feeling, this thought comes from a very anxious person, and that's what many people start with. That's why sharing your personal projects with people online is much easier, because you never have this fear of getting confronted by people offline, because you can switch off the phone and just not read the comments. But at the same time, sharing what you do can probably boost your confidence, or maybe it can just lead you to some shortcuts. So, do you have any personal projects that you are currently working on? And if yes, please let me know in the comments. As always, I'm still in the learning process, so if you have any tips on how to start personal projects, I'd be more than grateful to read your comments. And I'll see you in my next video.